Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to another live with me, your host, Pastor Cal. So glad you guys are tuning in. Just a few housekeeping tips before we get started. For you guys who are coming on for the first time, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. For those who are on some of our regulars, welcome back. It's great to have you back. It's always good to do these because I hear so much interesting comments and retorts and questions from you guys. And I want you to keep them coming. Keep them coming. Okay. I want to hear your questions. I want to hear your concerns. I want to hear your challenges. And we want to handle them right now. The Marriage Ain't for Punks app is I believe, just probably one of the best things to happen to relationships online, because we're offering resources that are actually going to be so beneficial for you in your marriage as well as in your single life if you're looking for someone. So tonight we're going to continue that tradition of talking about something that's very poignant, something that's very straightforward. Good evening. How are you, Crystal Patrick? And we're going to be talking about some things that and I want you to really sit back, put your thinking caps on, and let's dig deep, because I really want you guys to give me as much feedback as you possibly can. Also, I want to ask you, there's so many things on the app that I want you to be privy to and I want you to have access to. So feel free to subscribe to the app, get involved. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know. Join some of the communities. It's going to be so exciting. Hello, Renee Warren. Hello, Manny Jean-Louis. Or Jean-Louis. Okay, that's my shot at it. Okay, Lynn Stewart. It's good to see you guys. Hey, look, we're going to jump right in. I would love to say all the hellos and what's ups, but let's jump right in here. It's Jean-Louis then. I wanted to talk to you this evening. The topic that I had put out there in your notification is, I don't like those kids. Now, on both sides of the aisle, whether you're single. Now, first of all, before I go further, there's a question that I have to answer. Crystal asks, what do we do if we have technical issues with the app? Crystal, if you're having technical issues with the app, please go to the section at the bottom. It says more, and go to the contact page and then fill in your question, and we will make sure that we get that. Okay, we'll get it, and we will be very, very efficient in getting back to you to resolve whatever those issues are. Again, thank you guys for your patience, because we are in beta mode with our app, so we're still working out some kinks. Look, AT&T went out, so they had big problems. So look, our app, of course, we're going to have some challenges every now and then, but we're doing great. So thank you guys. Look, okay. Parenting on both sides of the aisle is something I want to talk to you about. If you're single, and I know some of you online are single, one thing that I hear quite often is that single people, they're a little hesitant to date people with children. And if you have children, you're a little hesitant to date with children, and for obvious reasons. You don't want to be exposing your kids every time to a new mama, a new daddy. You know, funny, when Wendy and I started dating as second timers, she had a daughter and I had two sons, and early on our daughter now, was calling me uncle, because she was very, very young, 7 years old. She was calling me uncle because, she saw me around, because she wasn't calling me dad, because we were just getting to know each other. And we had, been dating for just a short time. But she said, call him Uncle Cal. Okay, great. Which became very weird after we got married, because that was Uncle Daddy. But that was a little weird. But anyway, but the thing is, sometimes people are hesitant to date with children, and they're hesitant to date people with children. And someone asked me once, do I have to date somebody with kids? What if I don't have kids? And I'm going to put it out here. If you don't have children, absolutely. You have a right to require or to ask that your partner has no children. Yes, you have that right. Now, if you got 2 kids and 2 different baby mamas, and then you want a woman with no kids, that's a problem. That is a problem. Okay. Now, if you have no children and you want somebody without children, then that's fine. I believe that's perfect. However, depending on your age, I want you to understand something. If you're in your 30s and you're dating and you're looking for a good person, there are a number of reasons why someone might have children. Past relationships, divorced, etc., etc. And statistically, you're going to find that there are a lot of men after 35 who have children. I mean, it's more rare to find men without children and women without children after you've gotten a certain age. Okay. Exactly. And Lynn says this. She says, you have that right. Just keep in mind that will minimize the dating pool dramatically. Absolutely, it will. Of course, you have the right, though. If you have no children, you have the right to ask someone to date someone without children, but you do have to consider the consequences. The fact is, you are, and what some people have called a very polluted dating pool already, you are limiting yourself tremendously. Listen, we can't penalize people for their past decisions. We can't penalize somebody who got married at 22, thought this was going to be the love of their life, and found out after a few years that this person was a horrible drug addict or abuser, and now they have a child. And you're going to require, well, look, I want you, but I don't want your kid. That's a problem. Because sometimes we can throw the baby out with the bathwater, no pun intended. Sometimes we can very easily lose out on a good thing because we have somebody who made a decision in her past. She's not ashamed of it, because none of us are ashamed of our children. Made a decision, and now, hey, this is me, and this is my package. This is everything that comes with me. When I met my wife, of course, she had a daughter. My sons were older. They were a little bit more on their own. But yes, I embraced her. I embraced her child. Absolutely. Of course, I had kids, but I could have made that. That could have been a requisite for me. But it's foolish to do that. I wanted her, and the child turned out to be a pretty darn good bonus. So you have to figure that out yourself. But understand that in the dating pool, roughly about 30%, over 30% of single mothers and fathers who are out there are dating. So, and this is, of course, is we're talking about kids with children who are at a younger age. Not children who matter, but children who are at a younger age, roughly about 30%. And there's a high dating rate among these single parents. So people are out there. People want love. They want somebody. Okay. But what if I'm in a relationship and I'm dealing with somebody's kids, whether I'm married or I'm dating or what have you, and I got these kids, and the kids are bad. I don't like these kids. I don't like those children. First of all, I want you to understand something. Even as parents of biological children, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it. Sometimes we don't like our own kids. Now, we love them always. We love them, but we don't always like their ways. We just don't. Why? Because they're little humans growing up into adult humans, and they have their own personalities, their own little issues, their own challenges, their own idiosyncrasies, and sometimes we do have a problem with them. Even look, I have 2 sons, I love them to death. Sometimes I have things about them I don't like. There may be things about me that they don't like, but I really don't care. I'm their parent. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, that when it comes to parenting and having children, there are certain things you have to keep in mind. First of all, your children are a reflection of you. And if you're single and you're dating and you happen to date somebody with children, I want you to consider this. Look at that child, because a lot of the characteristics that are in that child are either those that the parent has put in them, or those are characteristics that the parent has not harnessed and taken control of. Okay? I've taught it for years. Children learn how to be parents and spouses based on what they see in the home. A little girl's going to learn how to be a mother based on the kind of mother she has. She's going to learn how to be a wife based on the kind of wife she's been to her father or any other man in her life. So I need you to understand that those children are a reflection of you. Now we're going to talk very briefly. Excuse me. We're going to talk very briefly about why children can be a problem. Okay. Again, using my own situation with my wife and I. Look, we met each other. We met each other's children. We're like, oh, kids are great. Now, did our kids live up to both of our expectations? No. Every expectation? Absolutely not. Are there things I wish they had done differently? Yes. Are there things I wish that they hadn't done? Yes, definitely. There are issues, okay? But we take the good with the bad. And we understand that, as my wife's mom says, you make your children, but you don't make their mind. Okay. Quite often, your children are going to be their own personality. Now, here's something you can do. You can look at your own parenting style, because your parenting style is going to affect those kids. And however you parent is how those children are going to be, is how they're going to parent when they grow up. Okay. I'm going to deal with 4 different parenting styles. Stay with me. First is authoritarian. And please, if you feel like you were raised this way, I want you to chime in. Authoritarian parenting. This is you can look it up in psychology, etc. Authoritarian parenting. This is a parenting style that is very firm and leaves no room for negotiation. Authoritarian parents, they use very strict rules, they use high standards and punishment to regulate the child's behavior. This is authoritarian parenting, where there's pretty much no wiggle room. You're going to do what I say, not what I do. I brought you in this world. You know the rest. That's authoritarian parenting. And for most of us who grew up, I grew up born in the 60s, et cetera. For most of us, hey, this is the only way it was. This was the only way it was. This is how people parented. Okay? And children who come up in this kind of environment, they're good at following instructions. Hear me. They're very good at following instructions. Okay? Now, I have a philosophy. These children also might grow up very fearful of punishment and lack experience in making their own decisions. I need you to hear that, right? They are very good at following instructions, but they also might be fearful of punishment and lack experience when it comes to making their own decisions, because the parents have always made it for them. They've never had a chance to think, make mistakes, and figure it out. And sometimes, very often, when we have this kind of parenting style, our kids are doing what we want them to do, but they grow up not really being able to mesh in society. They end up being followers because they always need somebody to tell them what to do. I need you to think about it. Manny says this: is there a time for it when young? I want you to help me out, Manny. Is there a time for it when young that you adjust as they get older? Absolutely. Yes. Do you adjust yes, when young, I understand the necessity of being authoritarian to some extent, but I want you to remember the second style that I'm about to tell you, because there's a difference between authoritarian, which means I am the ruler, I'm the dictator, you listen to me, period, and authoritative, which is our second style. Authoritative. An authoritative style supports children while being assertive, but not intrusive. Did you get it? You're being assertive, but you're not being intrusive. Now, these kind of parents, this is an ideal style for a combination of warmth and flexibility, while still making it clear that there are boundaries, there are rules, and the parents are in charge. These are the parents who set rules. They set boundaries, but they're willing to listen. They're willing to understand. There's no question who the authority is in the relationship. And if you got some bad bleep kids, right? Sometimes you might have to be a little authoritative, a little authoritarian, okay, depending on the child. But you also have to, generally, you have to understand that if you're going to be an authoritative parent, you have to develop a close, nurturing relationship with your children. You can tell your children, you can be authoritative and give them instructions and give them rules and let them teach them how to respect you, okay, but still understand grace. What about when the person you're married to has teenage kids that may not necessarily be disrespectful, but frequently have attitudes and don't think you have the right to tell them anything? That's a great question. Kids, here's how you deal with this. And I'm going to get on down with some of the other ones also. But here's how you deal with this. If you're married to someone who has a teenage child and they're not disrespectful, but frequently have attitudes and don't think you have a right to tell them anything, as if you're talking about a step parent, now some question if the kids biologically belong, same question if the kids biologically belong to both parents. Okay. Let's deal with the bonus parenting first. If it's a step parent or bonus parent, the biological parent has to be the one who administers the discipline, because that is where the relationship goes. That is where the strong part of the relationship is. I've seen so many relationships, so many families torn apart because the step parent comes in acting as though she or he is the biological parent, and that child does not receive that. You must create a safe place for that child, a place for that child where they can learn you. And even if the parent is coming down hard, the biological parent's coming down hard, you can be with, as though, even though you're definitely the cohort to the other parent, you can be the one that child might find some kind of reprieve from. They can find some kind of respite. Okay? Biological parent comes down hard. The step parent is there, can maybe help to sort of ease some of the pain, giving a safe place to land. Because the one thing that happens quite often is that when step parents come in trying to lower the hammer, normally the step children reject them. That's what happens. And it creates friction everywhere. And even if with both biological parents, if the child is disrespectful to one more so than to the other, those parents have to come together on a united front. And those children have to understand that, look, you're not going to be disrespectful to your dad. You're not going to be disrespectful to your husband. And the problem here is that children often, and I didn't even get to the others yet. The problem here is that children often forget, they don't realize that they don't have room. If you have formed a tight bond, the children don't have room. They can't play you against each other. The parents must be completely unified in an authoritarian situation. And disrespect has to be quickly and swiftly nipped in the bud. Period. Okay? I got to go on. Third one, permissive parenting. Okay. Thank you. What if the step parent has a different parenting style? Shouldn't both parents still be together? Absolutely. Irrespective of the parenting style, both parents should be together. However, when it comes down to the discipline, that has to be on the biological parent, not on the step parent. The step parent is always in support of the biological parent, but the biological parent is the one who should administer the discipline until enough time has elapsed till that child feels the value and the comfort and the respect of that step parent as though it were their biological. Now let's talk about permissive style real quick. A permissive style is a style where a parent lets their children do what they want, and they don't implement rules or structure. Now, you saw this a lot during the 60s and 70s, especially, with, let the child, and even now, let the child develop himself, let them develop their own personality. Permissive parents pride themselves on being the child's best friend. Their parents, I want to be your friend. I'm warm, and let's have open communication. Do this. My mom would have slapped the taste out of my mouth. I'm sorry, it's the truth. But no, never that permissive. A permissive parents pretty much let children make their own choices, but also bail them out if it doesn't go well. Now, it's called permissive because you're permitting that child to do whatever they desire. There's a reason they're called children. There's a reason they're not legal to sign contracts and drive and marry and do things that grown folk do, because they don't have the reasoning capacity to do that until they're adults. So by saying, I'm going to let this child develop his own personality, I'll be there, but I want to be your best friend. No, you're not the best friend. You are the parent. You're not a best friend. And you know what? For as many kids as I've talked to in my career, children do not want parents as a best friend. They want a parent. They want someone who will say no. They want someone who will put the brakes on. They want someone who will talk stern to them occasionally. They want someone who can also give them the kind of love and nurturing and kindness that they want. This is what children want. Ask your child, do you want me to be a best friend or do you want me to be a parent? And I will bet you 9.9 times out of 100 that child will say, no, I want a parent. I have friends. Now, in being a parent, does that mean your child should not be able to talk to you? Absolutely not. That child should feel like he or she is open to talk to you, open to give you what's going on in their life and what they're in their heart. Okay, it should happen that way. But that's what a permissive parent does. Okay, we have other questions coming in. My wife. At what age should a child be allowed to make their own decisions? A child should be making their own decisions. Hear me. A child should always make some decisions on their own. Early on, those decisions should be guided and assisted by parents. Later on, parents should pump the brakes a little bit and watch that child and let them make decisions on their own. Now, we know that this is not a perfect world and this doesn't always happen. Sometimes there are divorces. Sometimes there are other parents who don't agree and who don't comport with what you're saying. But generally, early on, parenting should be guided, where you're always watching your children, you're helping them to make decisions, and then later on you're pulling back, seeing if they've learned so that they can make their own decisions. Eventually they'll get to a point where they can handle it on their own. Okay? And you're right, high schoolers do think they know everything. And some of that you cannot avoid. They're going to think that until they get old enough to realize they don't. But I sincerely believe that when you gain a child's respect, because you're giving them enough space to make their own decisions, but you're staying close enough so that they know they can depend on you to help them make their decision, that's going to be a much healthier relationship. But that's permissive. Now, last, and definitely, probably least, and most difficult parenting style. Let me go over them again. First is authoritarian. Secondly is authoritative. Thirdly is permissive. And lastly, neglectful. And it sounds just like what it sounds like, a neglectful parenting style. Also called uninvolved parenting. This style is characterized by a lack of emotional involvement, a lack of supervision. And this is not just about letting your children do what they want to do. The difference between permissive and neglectful is that neglectful parents don't have an emotional buy-in with their children. These parents tend to offer minimal nurturing, and they have little expectations of the child. They don't set rules. At least with the permissive parents, they show the children that they love them. They want the best. They just don't want to interrupt their flow. They want to stay back. Neglectful parents pretty much let children raise themselves. What we find with neglectful parenting also is that those children tend to become parentified. Parentified children are children who take on parental responsibilities too early in life before they are mature enough and their brain is functional enough in order for them to do it. They take on these responsibilities, and as a result, when they get older, they never had a childhood. So it retards their growth and their maturity. Yes, because those children have been neglected. My goddaughter grew up in that manner, and she tells her own story, so I'm not just telling her business, where she was parentified because she basically didn't have parents in her life. So she had to really do it on her own. Yeah. And it's a difficult thing, and it's hard to adjust as an adult when you've been an adult as a child. It's hard for a child to adjust as an adult when that child has been an adult since he or she was a child. Okay. All right, here's one last question. How do you balance the parental relationship to make your teen comfortable enough to talk to you, but still discipline them? Here's the funny thing about discipline. And I wish I had time to talk about corporal punishment, but here's the funny thing about this. Balancing your relationship with a child. You know what children want? They want you to listen to them. You want to develop a relationship with your kid? Listen. Just listen. How was your day? And literally hear them. Wow, that has to be tough. Tell me more. And then if you need input, wow, is there anything I can do? You think I can do? What do you need from me? But this takes a long time. If you've been a butthole as a parent your whole life, and then all of a sudden you're trying to be kind, it's going to be a long, as we say in the South, a long road to hoe. Okay? But if you've been a kind parent, and this takes time, because you have to understand, children are little you. They are. And they need time. They need nurturing. They need understanding. And even with all that, sometimes you're still not going to like them. Sometimes they just gonna be butts, right? But you have to be, as you're saying here, you have to be intentional about the kind of parent you want to be. Because honestly, and I thank you for that comment, Wendy, it's almost like it's not only you parenting your children, but you also dealing with how you were parented. And a lot of us were parented not too well. And so we're passing that on to our children. So it's important to understand how you're parenting your child. Are you an authoritarian parent? If so, change your ways. It really doesn't work if that's the only gear you're driving in. Are you an authoritative parent? Which I believe makes the most sense. Where you're setting rules and boundaries. They recognize you as a parent, not a best friend. And yet you still have nurturing, you still have comfort, you still have love, and they can feel protected and safe under you. Are you a permissive parent where you're letting that child, you still have the same love, but you're letting them develop into whoever they want to develop in? They want your guidance. Or are you a neglectful parent where you pretty much have emotionally disconnected from that child and you're letting them do their thing? Find out your parenting style and act accordingly. Okay? Our time is up. Our time is up. I hope you got that. I hope you got it. I just want to talk to you very briefly about what happens when you don't like those kids, and understand those kids are a reflection of your parenting style. Okay. Yes. It is very tough. So I hope you guys got it. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please subscribe to this app. You're welcome. You're more than welcome. Subscribe to this app. Understand that we only can make this possible by your participation. Tell your friends about the app. Have them to download it. Right now, you can try the app. And for right now, all that you're getting here is free, at least up until the end of the year. We'll see what happens after that, okay? But tell your friends that now's the time to join. Now's the time to get these lives because it's free right now, okay? So jump on, sign up, get your information as we bring it to you live. And we're going to be bringing some other experts in also to help you out so that you can have wonderful relationships, wonderful marriages, and you can become the person you know you were meant to be. Okay? God bless you guys. You guys take care. I look forward to seeing you next time.